Hi guys, welcome to this video. So in the last video we saw that how to create Kubernetes cluster, and I said at the end of that video that we will gonna deploy a simple application on Kubernetes cluster. So I am ready with the application, and the application that we're gonna deploy is simple nginx. In the future videos, I'm gonna deep dive into difficult application deployment as well, but it's better to start with something called something simple so that we can we cannot intimidate it by Kubernetes. So let's deploy the simple nginx app. Before deploy, I would like to draw your attention to some of the concept, key value, etc. So as you can see in this configuration file, the first line says API version. It's very easy to understand. This is the API version from which we are using different configuration. Second is kind. So kind defines what kind of Kubernetes configuration is this? Is it deployment? Is it stateful set? Is it daemon set? Is it pod, etc. I'll go and do a deep dive session on that one also. For now, just consider that this is a deployment kind of object. Next is metadata. Metadata consists configuration about specific to your app. For example, this will be called nginx app, and when I want to when I want to find the pod and anything, I can use this name to find out where about find out pod from the list of available pods in the cluster. In the spec, I mentioned something called selectors, and the selectors are basically help you to find out the the specific app at the base of what you defined in the name. For example, in the name you said nginx app, so the value of app in the match labels should be same, so that we can search our pod with the help of nginx app. It makes life very easy, and I'll show you in the later videos how this helps you to find out particular pod from the list of several pods. The next value says replicas, and its value is 2. That means the Kubernetes cluster will create two pods, two deployment object uh, with the help of this configuration, and it's very easily scalable also. And Kubernetes inbuilt has a load balancer to balance the load between these two deployment objects. Template. So since we defined the two replicas, we need to define a template. Template basically tells Kubernetes that I want to have two pods of following configurations. So these are the configurations. Set the template to create two objects. First says metadata. As we already discussed, metadata gives you the configuration value for particular to your app. So here we have nginx app. Now next is spec, and in the spec we define containers. In the containers we define what container image we want to use. Since we are deploying nginx, we will use nginx container image, and I am using 1.7.9. You can define your own image, latest or any older image, it's fine. You also define a port, and that is your container port, and I want 80 to be running. So with that being said, we have a configuration file. So you create this file on your Kubernetes cluster. So first of all, I'll make directory called k8, then I'll switch to k8, then I'll create a directory called YAMLs, then I'll switch to the YAMLs, then I'll touch here nginx file, and I'll go to the nginx YAML file, then I'll copy paste the configuration which we discussed here. Cool. So now our configuration file is ready. We can run kubectl create -f nginx.yaml command. When we run this command, it will create a Kubernetes pod and the number of pod will be 2. Since we have some issues in our YAML file, let's check out and debug together. It says at the line 8, it find unexpected key. So go to the line 8. So as we can see, there's a unnecessary step, unnecessary space here. So we can fix this, and it's a space sensitive basically. So you have to care about that, and let's fix that. Let's create our pod. Now it says that there is no matches find for a kind deployment in version app v1. I'll pause the video here and I'll see how we can fix this.